17 Hollywood stars who found love after 50, their partners may surprise you, then and now, 2026. They had fame, fortune, heartbreak, and some believed their greatest love stories were already behind them. Then after 50, everything changed. From unexpected romances to partners no one saw coming, these Hollywood stars found love in the most surprising chapters of their lives. Subscribe to Hollywood Legends Remembered, and let's reveal all 17. George Clooney. George Clooney spent years carrying the reputation of Hollywood's permanent bachelor, known for Ocean's 11 and Syriana. He had previously been married to actress Talia Balsam, but their marriage ended in 1993. Clooney later explained that he had become comfortable building his life around work and friends, expecting neither another marriage nor children. Everything shifted in July 2013, when a mutual friend introduced British-Lebanese human rights lawyer Amal Alamuddin at Clooney's home near Lake Como. George was 52 and Amal was 35. Their first meeting happened during a small gathering rather than at a Hollywood event. They stayed connected through emails and began dating later that year. What made one unexpected meeting change the future, Clooney had already accepted. He proposed at home in April 2014. The moment became endearingly awkward as Amal initially struggled to understand what was happening, leaving George kneeling beside the ring while his chosen music continued playing. They married in Venice that September, less than 18 months after meeting. In June 2017, Clooney became a first-time father at 56 when Amal gave birth to twins Ella and Alexander. He later described meeting her as the moment another person's happiness became more important than his own. By 2026, they had shared nearly 12 years of marriage and continued working together as co-founders of the Clooney Foundation for Justice. Clooney found the family life he had stopped expecting only after reaching his 50s. Steve Martin. Steve Martin had already spent decades making audiences laugh through stand-up Saturday Night Live and films such as The Jerk and Father of the Bride, when his private life changed unexpectedly. Nearing 60, he received a professional phone call from Anne Stringfield, a fact-checker for The New Yorker. Stringfield had been assigned to verify one of Martin's humor pieces. Their conversations slowly moved beyond publication details, yet they spoke by telephone for about a year before meeting face-to-face. Martin was one of Hollywood's most recognizable comedians, while Stringfield preferred literature, art, and life away from celebrity attention. Could anyone have predicted that a routine fact-checking assignment would become his most lasting love story? The couple married in July 2007 during a surprise ceremony at Martin's Los Angeles home. Guests believed they were attending an ordinary party until the wedding began. Rather than publicizing the marriage, Martin and Stringfield kept their relationship private and rarely appeared together. Their biggest surprise came in December 2012, when they welcomed a daughter, and Martin became a first-time father at 67. He later explained that parenthood arrived at the right stage because he was no longer consumed by building his career and could devote more time to his child. By 2026, Martin and Stringfield had been married for 19 years. Their relationship did not begin on a red carpet or movie set, but with two strangers talking patiently on the phone. For a man famous for carefully constructed comedy, lasting love arrived through an ordinary conversation long after 50. Pierce Brosnan. Pierce Brosnan entered his 40s carrying a loss that had reshaped his family. The Irish actor, later known worldwide as James Bond in GoldenEye, lost his first wife, actress Cassandra Harris, to ovarian cancer in December 1991. Brosnan had adopted her children Charlotte and Christopher and was raising them alongside their son Sean. In 1994, Brosnan met journalist Keely Shea Smith at a party in Mexico where she had been assigned to interview Ted Danson. Their first date followed several days later. They sat beneath the stars, talked until early morning, and discovered an easy connection far from cameras and premieres. Could Brosnan have imagined that this unexpected meeting would become the most stable relationship of his adult life? Brosnan and Smith dated for 7 years before marrying in August 2001. They welcomed two sons, Dylan and Paris, and built a life shaped by acting, family, environmental advocacy, and periods away from Hollywood attention. Smith also supported Brosnan through another devastating loss when Charlotte died from ovarian cancer in 2013. Their marriage has carried demanding careers, parenthood, and grief, rather than a manufactured image of perfection. Brosnan has described their bond as solving problems year after year while continuing to enjoy each other's company. By 2026, they had spent 32 years together and 25 years married. A Beverly Hills dinner appearance that July showed them still moving through public life side by side while protecting much of their family world. Eddie Murphy. Eddie Murphy had already conquered stand-up comedy Saturday Night Live and films such as Beverly Hills Cop before finding lasting love after 50. In 2012, when Murphy was 51, he began dating Paige Butcher, an Australian model and actress who preferred a much quieter life than her internationally famous partner. Their relationship surprised some fans because Butcher largely avoided interviews and eventually removed her social media accounts. Rather than turning their romance into a Hollywood spectacle, the couple built their family away from constant publicity. Their daughter Izzy Una was born in 2016, followed by their son Max Charles in 2018. Max's middle name honored Murphy's older brother Charlie, who had died the previous year. Could anyone have expected one of comedy's biggest personalities to find stability with someone so determined to remain outside the spotlight? Murphy and Butcher became engaged in September 2018, but they did not rush toward marriage. After 12 years together, they married on July 9, 2024, in a small private ceremony on the Caribbean island of Anguilla. It was Murphy's second legal marriage and Butcher's first. By 2026, Murphy was 65 and the father of 10 children. He described himself as a simple, predictable husband who prefers staying home and remaining close to his family. Butcher also developed a strong relationship with his children from previous partnerships, helping create a large, blended family. For Murphy, love after 50 did not arrive through a dramatic public romance. It grew quietly for more than a decade, leading to an intimate wedding and a family life carefully protected from Hollywood attention. William Shatner. William Shatner became a television icon as Captain James T. Kirk in Star Trek, but one of the most important relationships of his later life began during profound grief. In August 1999, his third wife, Noreen Kidd, drowned in the swimming pool at their home. Shatner discovered her and attempted to revive her, an experience he later described as a devastating wound that required time and family support to absorb. Several months later, horse trainer Elizabeth Martin sent him a handwritten sympathy note. She understood bereavement personally, having cared for her first husband through cancer before his death. Shatner eventually called her, and their conversations developed around shared grief and a mutual passion for horses. They married on February 13, 2001, when Shatner was 69. Could two people brought together by loss create a new beginning late in life? Their marriage lasted 18 years before Shatner filed for divorce in 2019. The divorce became final in March 2020, yet their connection continued. They appeared publicly together again in 2023, and Shatner revealed in 2024 that they were once more sharing a home. He said they had effectively remarried while choosing to skip another ceremony. By 2025, published profiles continued describing Shatner and Martin as reconciled. Their relationship followed an unusual path. Widowhood brought them together. Divorce separated them legally, and companionship eventually drew them back into the same home. For Shatner, love after 69 became a story of grief, partnership separation, and an unexpected second reunion. Michael Douglas. Michael Douglas had already spent decades at the center of Hollywood when his personal life changed at 53. The Oscar-winning star of Wall Street, Fatal Attraction, and Basic Instinct met Welsh actress Catherine Zeta-Jones at France's Deauville American Film Festival in August 1998. Douglas had recently watched her breakthrough performance in The Mask of Zorro and arranged an introduction through mutual friends. During their first evening together, Douglas boldly told Zeta-Jones that he expected to become the father of her children. The remark ended the meeting awkwardly, but he later sent flowers and an apology. Their relationship developed after that uncertain beginning. Despite sharing the same September 25th birthday, they were separated by 25 years, creating public doubts about their future. Could either of them have predicted how much their marriage would eventually endure? Their son Dylan arrived in August 2000. Douglas and Zeta Jones married at New York's Plaza Hotel on November 18th that year, followed by the birth of their daughter Karis in 2003. The following decade tested their relationship. Douglas received treatment for stage 4 throat cancer, while Zeta Jones publicly sought treatment for bipolar II disorder. In 2013, their representatives confirmed that they were spending time apart to evaluate their marriage. They reconciled the following year, with Douglas later explaining that rebuilding required effort from both partners. In November 2025, they celebrated their 25th wedding anniversary. Their story became less about a glamorous age gap romance and more about two people who survived illness, separation, parenthood, and intense public attention while continuing to choose the same partnership. Sylvester Stallone. Sylvester Stallone was already one of Hollywood's biggest action stars when he met model Jennifer Flavin at a Beverly Hills restaurant in 1988. Stallone, known worldwide for creating Rocky and playing John Rambo, was in his early 40s and had already experienced 2 failed marriages. Flavin was 19 and beginning her modeling career. Their relationship developed away from the film sets and publicity surrounding his fame. Their early years together were far from stable. In 1994, Stallone ended the relationship through a 6-page handwritten letter delivered by Federal Express. Flavin later learned that another relationship had influenced the breakup. Stallone eventually admitted that sending the letter had been a cowardly way to handle the situation. They reconciled and married in London on May 17, 1997, when Stallone was 50. Together, they raised 3 daughters, Sophia, Sistine, and Scarlett. Could a relationship survive such a painful beginning and remain strong for decades? The marriage faced another serious crisis in August 2022, when Flavin filed for divorce after 25 years. Stallone later described the period as tumultuous and said it awakened him to the importance of placing family ahead of work. Within weeks, the couple met at home, discussed their differences, and chose to reconcile. The divorce case was formally dismissed that October. In May 2026, Stallone and Flavin celebrated their 29th wedding anniversary. Their story carries breakups, reconciliation, parenthood, and difficult private conversations, proof that the lasting relationship Stallone found in middle age required far more than Hollywood romance. Don Johnson. Don Johnson spent much of his early fame living exactly as the public expected from the star of Miami Vice. He was charismatic, constantly followed by the press, and surrounded by highly publicized romances. His complicated history included 2 marriages to Melanie Griffith, along with several relationships that ended under intense media attention. By the late 1990s, few people would have described him as someone destined for a quiet, lasting marriage. That changed when he met Kelly Flegger, a San Francisco socialite and Montessori teacher with little interest in becoming a Hollywood celebrity. They began dating in 1997 and married in April 1999, only months before Johnson turned 50. Although their romance technically began just before that milestone, the stable life they created together unfolded almost entirely during his later years. Could anyone have imagined that one of Hollywood's most famous playboys would find his longest-lasting love away from the entertainment industry? Kelly did not compete with Johnson's past or attempt to build a career from his fame. Instead, the couple focused on raising their 3 children, Grace, Jasper, and Deacon, while maintaining a close blended family that also includes Johnson's older children, Dakota and Jesse. Their marriage endured while Johnson continued acting in projects such as Knives Out, Watchmen, and Dr. Odyssey. In 2024, they celebrated 25 years of marriage, far longer than any of his previous relationships. By 2026, Johnson and Flegger had been married for 27 years. The surprise was not simply that he fell in love near 50. It was that the man once known for restless romances eventually built his most enduring relationship with someone who preferred family life to Hollywood attention. Jeff Goldblum. Jeff Goldblum had already experienced 2 marriages and decades of Hollywood fame before finding the relationship that led him into fatherhood. known for The Fly, Jurassic Park, and Independence Day. He was approaching 60 when he met Canadian dancer and former Olympic rhythmic gymnast Emily Livingston at a Los Angeles gym in 2011. Goldblum noticed Livingston practicing movements in the gym and introduced himself. Their connection developed gradually, shaped by a shared interest in music performance and physical creativity. Livingston had represented Canada at the 2000 Sydney Olympics before building a career as a dancer, aerialist, and movement specialist. Could Goldblum have imagined that a casual gym encounter would completely reshape his life after 60? The couple became engaged in 2014 and married that November at the Chateau Marmont in Los Angeles. Livingston was 31 while Goldblum was 62. Their age difference attracted public attention, yet their relationship soon centered on a major new experience for Goldblum becoming a parent. Their first son, Charlie Ocean, was born on July 4, 2015. Their second son, River Joe, arrived in April 2017. Goldblum has spoken openly about the emotional impact of raising children later in life, describing fatherhood as demanding, joyful, and deeply meaningful. The marriage joined two highly expressive personalities while giving Goldblum a family chapter he had never previously experienced. By 2026, he and Livingston had shared more than 14 years together. For Goldblum, lasting love arrived alongside first-time fatherhood, proving that his most transformative role began long after his Hollywood career was already secure. Alec Baldwin. By the time Alec Baldwin entered his 50s, he had already lived through a famous marriage, a painful divorce, and years of intense public attention. The actor, known for The Hunt for Red October and 30 Rock, seemed unlikely to begin an entirely new family chapter. Then, in February 2011, the 52-year-old met Hilaria Thomas, a Manhattan yoga instructor at Pure Food and Wine in New York. Hilaria was 26 years younger and lived outside Baldwin's Hollywood world. Their relationship progressed quickly. They began dating that year, became engaged in April 2012, and married 2 months later at St. Patrick's Old Cathedral. Baldwin was 54 when they exchanged vows. Could anyone have predicted that a chance restaurant meeting would create the most enduring family of Baldwin's life? Their daughter Carmen arrived in 2013. Over the following 9 years, they welcomed 6 more children: Rafael Leonardo, Romeo, Eduardo, Maria Lucia, and Ilaria. Baldwin was already the father of Ireland, his daughter from his marriage to Kim Basinger. Their relationship has unfolded under extraordinary pressure, including public controversies and the devastating aftermath of the Rust shooting. Yet Hilaria remained beside him as they raised their large family, presenting a marriage that was often chaotic and imperfect, rather than carefully polished for Hollywood. By August 2026, Baldwin was 68. Hilaria was 42, and they had been married for 14 years. Their household had become the focus of the reality series, The Baldwins, and Alec was still joking publicly about having another child. The surprise was not simply their age difference. Love after 50 gave Baldwin another chance at marriage and completely transformed the later years of his life. David Hasselhoff. David Hasselhoff had already experienced 2 marriages and decades of international fame when he met Haley Roberts. Celebrated for Knight Rider and Baywatch, he was working as a judge on Britain's Got Talent in 2011 when Roberts approached him at a Cardiff hotel and asked for an autograph. Hasselhoff agreed, then asked for her phone number. He was 59 while the Welsh sales assistant was 31. Their connection developed into a long-distance relationship shaped by frequent travel between Britain and the United States. Hasselhoff later admitted that their 28-year age difference made him hesitate over marriage. Roberts viewed this relationship more simply, believing that fear of the future should never outweigh the happiness they shared in the present. Could Hasselhoff have expected a request for one photograph to begin the most enduring romance of his later life? After 5 years together, Hasselhoff proposed during a beach picnic in Malibu in 2016. His daughters Taylor and Haley supported the engagement and later attended the wedding. On July 31, 2018, the couple married during a small ceremony in Puglia, southern Italy, surrounded by relatives and close friends. Hasselhoff was 66, and Roberts was 38. In July 2025, Roberts marked their 7th wedding anniversary by sharing a photograph from the ceremony and expressing her continuing love for him. By 2026, they had spent approximately 15 years together. Their relationship gave Hassel a quieter form of companionship after 2 divorces built around travel humor, family support, and the decision to embrace love despite public attention surrounding their age difference. Robert Duvall. Robert Duvall had already completed 3 marriages and built one of Hollywood's most respected acting careers when an accidental meeting changed his personal life. The Oscar-winning star of The Godfather, Apocalypse Now, and Tender Mercies encountered Luciana Pedraza in Buenos Aires in 1996. Duvall had entered a bakery after discovering that a nearby flower shop was closed. Luciana approached him with an invitation to a party, unaware of his celebrity status. Duvall was 65 while Luciana was in her early 20s. Their 41-year age difference initially concerned him, yet conversation, Argentine culture, and a shared passion for tango created a strong connection. They also shared the same January 5th birthday. Their relationship developed into a creative partnership with Luciana appearing beside him in Assassination Tango and later working as an actress and filmmaker. Could Duvall have imagined that a closed flower shop would lead to the longest marriage of his life? The couple married in 2005 and settled largely at their Virginia horse farm. In 2011, they established the Robert Duvall Children's Fund to assist disadvantaged children and families in northern Argentina. Duvall credited their lasting bond to love, patience, consideration, mutual respect, and a connection that grew naturally. Their marriage lasted more than 20 years. Duvall died peacefully at their Virginia home on February 15, 2026 at age 95 with Luciana beside him. Her farewell remembered him as a cherished husband and friend, closing a love story that began unexpectedly when Duvall was already in his mid-60s. Dennis Quaid. Dennis Quaid had already experienced 3 marriages and decades of public scrutiny when love unexpectedly returned in his mid-60s. The actor, best known for films such as The Right Stuff and The Parent Trap, met Laura Savoy at a business event in 2019. She was pursuing graduate business studies and had built her life far outside Hollywood celebrity culture. Their connection developed quickly. Quaid later described their first meeting as love at first sight, saying he was drawn to Savoy's intelligence, character, and perspective on life. They became engaged in Hawaii in October 2019. When the COVID-19 pandemic disrupted plans for a larger celebration, they quietly married at a seaside resort in Santa Barbara on June 2, 2020, with only their pastor present. Could anyone have expected Quaid's smallest wedding to begin what he considers the closest relationship of his life? Their 39-year age difference immediately dominated public discussion. Quaid maintained that he had never deliberately searched for a younger partner and that their ages rarely mattered inside the relationship. Laura also became more than his wife. In 2021, they founded Bonnydale Films, creating a professional partnership alongside their marriage. By 2026, Quaid and Savoy had been married for 6 years. He continued acting while they developed projects through their production company. After earlier relationships that frequently unfolded under tabloid attention, this chapter of his life appeared noticeably quieter. For Quaid, finding love after 60 was not an attempt to recapture his youth. It was the unexpected beginning of a shared future with someone he now describes as his true life partner. Nicolas Cage. Nicolas Cage had experienced 4 marriages and several highly publicized relationships before meeting Rico Shibata in his mid-50s. The Oscar-winning star of Leaving Las Vegas, Face Off, and National Treasure met Shibata through mutual friends in Shiga, Japan, while working on Prisoners of the Ghostland. Cage was immediately attracted to her, and their shared affection for animals helped create an unexpectedly easy connection. Their relationship soon faced an unusual obstacle. When the COVID-19 pandemic separated them, Shibata returned to Japan while Cage remained in the United States. They continued communicating from a distance, and Cage proposed through FaceTime in 2020. He then sent her black diamond engagement ring to Japan by FedEx. Could Cage have imagined that a romance tested by distance would lead him back to marriage once again? They wed on February 16, 2021, during a small ceremony at Wynn, Las Vegas. Cage selected the date to honor the birthday of his late father August Coppola. Shibata wore a handmade Japanese bridal kimono while Cage chose a Tom Ford tuxedo. His former wife Alice Kim and their son Kal-El attended the celebration, reflecting the blended family relationships Cage had preserved. Their daughter, August Francesca Coppola Cage, was born on September 7, 2022, making Shibata a first-time mother and Cage a father of 3. By 2026, the couple had passed their 5th wedding anniversary and continued appearing publicly together. After years of restless relationships, Cage described Shibata as the one placing marriage and fatherhood at the center of his later life. Richard Gere. Richard Gere had already experienced 2 marriages and decades as one of Hollywood's most recognizable leading men when love returned in his mid-60s. His partner was not another actress but Alejandra Silva, a Spanish publicist and humanitarian activist whom he had known through her family for years. They reconnected in 2014, and what began across 2 countries gradually became a serious relationship. Their early years required patience. Gere lived mainly in New York while Silva was based in Spain, and both were raising sons from previous relationships. They arranged visits around their children and tried not to remain apart for more than 20 days. Eventually, Silva moved to New York, allowing them to create a shared home rather than continue living between occasional meetings. Could Gere have imagined that his most peaceful family chapter would begin when he was already in his 60s? The couple married privately in Spain in early 2018, followed by a Buddhist celebration at Gere's New York estate. Their sons, Alexander and James, were born in 2019 and 2020, giving Gere the unexpected experience of raising young children again in his 70s. Their blended family also includes his older son Homer and Silva's son Albert. By 2026, Gere and Silva had celebrated 8 years of marriage. They were living primarily in Spain, where their bilingual children could grow closer to Silva's family and culture. The pair also remained connected through Buddhism and humanitarian work, particularly efforts addressing homelessness. For Gere, love after 60 was not a dramatic Hollywood comeback. It was a quieter second beginning built around family shared beliefs and a life increasingly removed from the machinery of fame. Chuck Norris. Chuck Norris had already completed a long first marriage and built an international reputation as a martial artist and action star when he met Gina O'Kelly in Dallas in 1997. Best known for Walker, Texas Ranger missing in action and his famous fight with Bruce Lee in The Way of the Dragon, Norris was approaching 60 and entering a quieter stage of life. Norris first noticed O'Kelly, a former model, during a restaurant dinner. She visited the set of Walker, Texas Ranger the following day and appeared in a small role. Norris invited her to dinner, and their friendship soon developed into a relationship. They married on November 28, 1998, when Norris was 58 and O'Kelly was 35. Their twins Dakota and Danilee were born in August 2001. Could Norris have imagined that a chance meeting would lead to the partnership that carried him through the final decades of his life? Their marriage later faced a frightening health crisis. O'Kelly developed severe pain weakness and other symptoms that the couple attributed to gadolinium-based contrast agents used during MRI examinations. Norris reduced his professional commitments to care for her, and they filed a lawsuit against several manufacturers in 2017. The companies disputed the allegations, while medical authorities emphasized the diagnostic value of the agents. The couple also worked together through Kickstart Kids and other family ventures. Norris died on March 19, 2026, at age 86, surrounded by his family. His 27-year marriage to Gina became the lasting personal chapter of a life once defined mainly by toughness and action. Tom Bosley. Tom Bosley was already a beloved television father when his personal life entered a painful new chapter. Best known as Howard Cunningham on Happy Days, he had been married to dancer Jean Elliott since 1962, and they had one daughter, Amy. In 1978, Jean died, leaving Bosley a widower in his early 50s. 2 years later, his life changed again. In 1980, Bosley married actress and producer Patricia Carr. He was 53, making theirs a genuine later-life love story rather than a romance formed during his younger years. Patricia also came into this marriage with 3 daughters from a previous relationship, bringing 2 established families together. After losing a longtime partner, Would you have the courage to open your life to love and marriage again after 50 pay? Their relationship quietly endured while Bosley continued working. Patricia even guest-starred on Happy Days in 1981, giving audiences a rare glimpse of the real-life couple together on the set of the series that had made him famous. Unlike many Hollywood relationships that became constant tabloid material, theirs remained comparatively private. Bosley continued acting in Murder. She wrote Father Dowling Mysteries and numerous later television roles while sharing his life with Patricia. They remained married until Bosley died on October 19, 2010 at age 83. Patricia was by then his wife of nearly 30 years. For Tom Bosley, finding love again did not erase the family he had lost. It gave him another long partnership at a stage of life when beginning over could not have been easy.